2 years after losing her husband in a tragic accident, Emma is finally learning how to live again until one ordinary day at the mall, she sees him alive with another woman and a child. What follows is a journey of truth, heartbreak, and a second chance at love, where nothing is as it seemed. Hello, family. Welcome to Storytime Mutually. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories. Like and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. It had been 2 years since Emma lost her husband, Daniel. He died in a car accident on a rainy night. They said it was quick, no pain. But for Emma, the pain never left. Daniel was her best friend, her soulmate. She remembered how he used to make her laugh even when she was mad, how he always brought home her favorite strawberry cupcakes on Fridays, and how his hugs made her feel like nothing could go wrong in the world. After he died, Emma shut herself away from everything. Friends tried to visit, her family called often, but she barely spoke. Her heart had been broken in a way she couldn't explain. Every corner of their house reminded her of himself. His shoes still sat by the door. His coffee mug still sat in the sink. But life kept moving. Now, after 2 painful years of therapy, tears, and slowly learning to smile again, Emma had taken her first big step. She left the house for something other than groceries or appointments. She went to a mall. Not just any mall, but the one she and Daniel used to visit on Sunday afternoons. They used to walk hand in hand, get frozen yogurt, and stop at the bookstore where Daniel loved to browse mystery novels. Emma walked into that same bookstore, her heart heavy with memories. The smell of old paper and fresh coffee hit her, making her chest tighten. She took a deep breath and tried to focus on the books in front of her. But then, something made her freeze. A familiar laugh. Deep, warm, and impossible to forget. She turned slowly, and there he was, Daniel, standing just a few steps away, holding a little girl's hand, smiling at a woman who looked about the same age as Emma. He looked just like he did the day he died. Same brown hair, same soft eyes, same little scar above his eyebrow from when he fell off a bike as a kid. Emma's heart almost stopped. Was she dreaming? She blinked hard. No, he was still there. But how? Daniel was dead. She buried him. She cried at his funeral. She held his old coat every night for months. Emma's legs felt weak. She took a small step forward, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Maybe it was someone who just looked like him. A coincidence. A stranger with the same face. But deep inside her, she knew. It was him. The little girl tugged his hand and asked him a question. He leaned down, smiled, and answered. Emma watched the way he moved, the way he laughed. It was too perfect, too familiar, too real. The woman beside him placed her hand gently on his shoulder. They looked like a happy little family. Emma's mind spun. She couldn't breathe. Was this really Daniel? If yes, why had he let her think he was dead for 2 whole years? And who was that woman? Emma turned away quickly, hiding behind a tall shelf of books. Her hands shook. Her heart raced. She wasn't ready for this. But one thing was certain. This wasn't over. And it all started here, by the bookstore. Emma stood behind the bookshelf, trying to calm herself. Her hands were shaking, and her heart was beating so fast it felt like it would break out of her chest. She peeked out again. Daniel was walking away now, holding the little girl's hand, laughing like everything was perfect. The woman beside him leaned in and said something, and he smiled at her. That smile Emma knew so well. The one he used to give her when they were still in love. Emma's eyes burned with tears. She stepped back and leaned against the shelf for support. What is happening? She whispered to herself. She wasn't the kind of person who jumped to conclusions. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe that man just looked like Daniel. But deep inside her, something told her the truth. She had spent years loving him. She knew every small detail about him, from the way he walked, to the way he rubbed his chin when thinking, to the way he looked at someone he cared about. And that was Daniel. Alive. Breathing. Smiling. With another woman and a child. Emma felt dizzy. Her vision blurred with tears. She rushed out of the bookstore, gasping for air. She needed to think. She needed answers. She sat on a bench near the mall's fountain, staring at the water. Questions raced through her mind. Why would he fake his death? Did he stop loving me? Was I not enough? Who is that woman? And that little girl, could she be his daughter? She grabbed her phone, her fingers trembling. She opened her gallery and scrolled to Daniel's old photos. She stared at one where they had gone hiking. He had the same haircut, the same eyes, and that same slight dimple on the left cheek. It was him. Suddenly, she remembered something strange, Marcus. Marcus was Daniel's best friend. After Daniel's funeral, Marcus was the only one who acted odd. He barely cried. He visited Emma often, always checking on her, but he never talked much about Daniel's death. In fact, Marcus once told her, "Things aren't always what they seem, Emma." At the time, she thought he was just trying to be comforting. But now, those words felt like a clue. She quickly typed a message. Marcus, I saw someone today. He looked exactly like Daniel. Please, I need to talk to you. Right now. She stared at the screen. Read it again. Then hit send. Within seconds, the 3 little dots appeared. Marcus was typing. Emma, where are you? He replied. At Maplewood Mall, near the fountain, she answered. Stay there. I'm coming. Emma's hands were cold as she tucked the phone into her pocket. Her world had just flipped upside down. Something was very wrong, and she was ready to find out the truth, even if it hurt. Emma sat on the cold bench by the mall fountain, hugging her arms to keep warm. People walked past her, laughing and shopping, but she felt like she was in a different world, a world where nothing made sense anymore. 10 minutes later, she saw Marcus walking toward her, his face serious. He wore a dark jacket and looked around quickly before sitting beside her. Emma, he said softly, are you okay? She didn't answer right away. She looked at him with watery eyes. I saw him, Marcus. I saw Daniel. He's alive. Marcus sighed and ran a hand through his hair. I was hoping this day would never come. Emma's heart jumped. So it's true? It was him? He's not dead. Marcus nodded slowly, pain showing on his face. Yes, it was him. Emma stared at him, mouth open. But why? Why would he let me suffer for 2 years? Why fake his death? I don't understand. Marcus looked down at his hands, then back at her. It wasn't his choice, not fully. Daniel got mixed up in something dangerous. A business deal that went bad. He was being followed, threatened. He didn't want you to get hurt. So he disappeared. Emma shook her head, tears falling again. And no one told me? Not even you. I wanted to, Marcus said. Believe me, I begged him to let me tell you. But he made me promise not to. He thought it was the only way to keep you safe. Emma stood up, angry now. So, I mourned a man who was alive? I cried over his clothes, kissed his photo every night, talked to his grave, while he was out there building a new life with some woman and a child. Marcus stood too. That's not what it looks like, Emma. That woman, her name is Hannah. She helped him when he was hiding. The child isn't his daughter. She's Hannah's niece. Daniel's been helping her raise her after her sister passed away. They're not married. He never stopped loving you. Emma froze. Then why didn't he come back? He tried, Marcus said. Last year, he was planning to tell you everything. But then he heard you were in therapy. You were finally healing. He didn't want to break you all over again. Emma sat back down slowly, overwhelmed. I don't know what to feel. Anger, relief, confusion. He let me believe he was gone. That broke me. Marcus placed a hand on her shoulder. He made a mistake. But I know he did it for love. He's been watching from afar, making sure you were safe. That's why I kept checking on you, Emma. He asked me to. Emma covered her face with her hands. I don't know what to do now. Marcus's voice was calm. Maybe you need to see him. Hear the truth from his own mouth. Emma looked up, her eyes still wet but clear now. I think I do. And deep inside, even with all the hurt, a small spark lit in her chest. A part of her still wanted to believe in love. The next morning, Emma stood in front of the mirror, brushing her hair with slow, nervous hands. Her heart was heavy, and her mind was full of questions. Today, she was going to see Daniel again for the first time since she believed he had died. Marcus had arranged it. He told her Daniel agreed to meet at a quiet cafe just outside town, where no one would interrupt them. Emma looked at herself one last time and whispered, "You can do this." She got into her car and drove. Every street felt familiar, yet distant. Her heart raced as she parked in front of the cafe. She could already see Daniel sitting by the window, staring down at a cup of coffee. He looked just like the man she once loved and still did. She took a deep breath and walked in. Daniel stood the moment he saw her. For a few seconds, they both just stared. Emma saw the pain in his eyes, the regret, and, something else, hope. "Hi, Emma," he said softly. She sat across from him, her voice low. "I don't even know where to start." "I know," he replied. "But please let me explain." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small, folded paper. He placed it gently on the table. "I wrote this letter a year ago. I wanted to send it, but I didn't." Emma didn't touch it yet. She just looked at him. "Why didn't you come back? Why did you let me suffer?" Daniel leaned forward, his voice filled with emotion. "I was scared. The threats were real. Men came to my office one night and warned me to stay away from everything and everyone. I didn't believe them until they followed you one day. I saw it with my own eyes. That's when I knew I had to disappear." Emma's eyes widened. "They followed me?" Daniel nodded. "Yes. I couldn't risk your life, Emma. I didn't care what happened to me, but I couldn't let them hurt you. Faking my death was the only way out." Emma was quiet. Her heart was heavy with so many emotions. "So, you built a new life? With Hannah?" "No," he said quickly. "Hannah helped me hide. She gave me a place to stay when I had nothing. Her niece, Lily, grew attached to me. That's why we looked like a family yesterday. But it's not what you think. I never moved on. I couldn't." Emma finally picked up the letter. She unfolded it and read a few lines. Tears fell silently down her cheeks. It was full of love, apologies, memories, promises. Daniel reached across the table and took her hand, gently. "I thought I lost you forever, but seeing you now, it felt like a second chance." Emma looked up at him, her voice shaking. "You broke me, Daniel. I had to teach myself how to breathe again. But even now, my heart still knows you." He squeezed her hand, a tear slipping from his own eye. "I never stopped loving you, Emma. And if there's any way to fix this, I'll spend my life trying." The cafe stayed quiet around them. Outside, the wind blew gently, like the world had paused just for this moment. Emma didn't have all the answers. But for the first time in 2 years, her heart felt something close to peace. She whispered, "Let's take it one step at a time." And Daniel smiled, hopeful and deeply grateful. The cafe was still quiet as Emma and Daniel walked outside together. Neither of them spoke right away. The wind was cool, and the sun peeked through soft clouds. It felt like the kind of morning made for new beginnings. Emma wrapped her arms around herself as they walked slowly toward her car. "Can I give you a ride?" she asked softly. Daniel looked surprised. "You sure?" She nodded. "I think we have more to talk about." He got into the passenger seat and they drove through the streets of Maplewood. So much had changed in 2 years, yet some things stayed the same. The same bakery where they used to get breakfast still had the same green sign. The same bench at the park still sat under the tall oak tree. Emma noticed Daniel glancing at everything quietly, like he was seeing home for the first time in forever. They pulled up in front of her house. She hesitated at the door, then opened it. "Come in," she said. Daniel walked in slowly, his eyes scanning the living room. Nothing had changed. His favorite chair was still by the window. The photos of their wedding day still hung on the wall. The same warm scent of cinnamon and vanilla filled the air. Emma sat on the couch, and Daniel sat across from her. "I didn't change anything," she said quietly. "I couldn't." Daniel looked down. "I don't deserve this. You waited, and I wasn't there." Emma nodded slowly. "Yes, I waited. I grieved. I almost lost myself. But I survived. There was silence for a moment. Do you still feel something? Daniel asked, his voice low. Emma looked into his eyes, the same eyes that once made her fall in love, the same ones she cried over every night. I don't know what I feel, Daniel, but I know there's still a piece of my heart that belongs to you. I just don't know if I can trust it again. He got up and knelt in front of her, gently taking her hands. You don't have to decide now. I'll wait. As long as it takes. I'll rebuild what I broke. Tears welled in Emma's eyes again, but this time they weren't from pain. They were from something softer, something warmer. Hope. Over the next few days, Daniel didn't push. He visited sometimes, helped her fix the garden, brought her tea in the evenings, just like he used to. He stayed at a hotel nearby, giving her space, but slowly reminding her what love once felt like. One afternoon, they walked through the park. Children played nearby, and couples sat on benches holding hands. Emma smiled softly. Do you think it's possible to love someone twice? Daniel looked at her with a small smile. I think real love never ends. Sometimes it just waits until the right time. She looked at him, her heart full of mixed emotions, but no longer full of pain. Maybe love really could come back. Maybe second chances were real. A few weeks had passed since Daniel returned. Every day brought something new between him and Emma. Small talks over coffee, soft laughter during walks, quiet moments filled with unspoken healing. But one thing still remained, a shadow from the past. Daniel had been living a new life, but he knew he couldn't fully move forward until he faced the people who once tried to destroy his. One evening, as Emma made tea in the kitchen, Daniel walked in and sat at the table, looking thoughtful. I need to tell you something, he said. Emma turned to him. What is it? I've been working behind the scenes to finally end what started all of this. The men who threatened me, who made me disappear, they were part of a business ring involved in illegal money deals. When I refused to work with them, they came after me. They followed you to scare me. Emma sat down slowly, listening closely. I hired a private investigator, Daniel continued. We gathered proof. With Marcus's help, we worked with the police. And last week they were arrested. Emma's eyes widened. All of them? Daniel nodded. All of them. It's over now. For good. She let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I wanted to be sure. I didn't want to give you hope until I knew it was safe. Now it is. I'm truly free. And so are you. Emma stood, walked over to him, and wrapped her arms around his shoulders from behind. Thank you for fighting to fix this. He turned to face her, holding her hands. I don't want to just fix the past, Emma. I want to build a future, with you, if you'll let me. Tears gently filled her eyes, but this time, they were full of peace. I've watched myself fall apart, she whispered. And now I've watched myself rise. And through it all, I still love you. Daniel slowly pulled out a small velvet box from his coat pocket. He opened it, not with a ring, but with a tiny gold locket inside. Inside the locket was a picture of the two of them from their honeymoon and a new note that said, For the second chance we were brave enough to take. I don't want to rush anything, Daniel said. I just want to remind you that I never stopped carrying you in my heart. Emma touched the locket with her fingers, smiling through tears. Then, let's not rush. Let's walk forward together. He held her close as the sun set outside the window, painting their world in soft gold. Days turned into months, and love slowly bloomed again. Not rushed, not forced, but steady, like the beating of two hearts learning to trust once more. And one day, under the tall oak tree in the park where they had their first date, Daniel knelt down with a real ring this time. Emma smiled, her eyes full of joy. Yes, she whispered, before he even asked. Because sometimes life takes away what we love. But love, real love, has a way of coming back. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, kindly subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.